All right, Coach, Buckeyes and Huskies. And I'll tell you, I've been to some crazy stadiums, but that Husky Stadium is a very loud place to go. Just your overall thoughts as a coach. What do you tell your guys, and how do you prepare a team when they're going to some place that loud?
Yeah, I think, I've made some mistakes in the past with that where, you do the obvious is crowd noise and prepare them. But the thing that I did later in my career is I would call it hotspots. And hotspots, for example, just to have crowd noise running, that's not what happens during the course of a game. When I say hotspots, it's third down, it's red zone, it's field goal and punt. Those are the times of the game where it gets, where you really got to listen to what's going on. Because other times of the game, it's okay, but it's not like that. And so I've actually spoke to a couple coaches over the years, and I actually talked to the guy at Oregon. We were talking about how hard it is to play up at Penn State. He was asking about that, and I said it's the field goal, it's the punt, and a lot of people forget to do that in those situations, and sometimes things happen.
As you look at this Ohio State football team, and you were so high on them a year ago, you thought they had the best talent in the country. What do you think right now with what you see 3 games in?
I still don't know. I think they're untested. I think the Texas win was obviously tremendous, but Texas is really struggling. So we don't know how good Texas is. Obviously, the last few games were, just those were warm-up games. So you're going to find out about this one. I think we can control the line of scrimmage on Washington, but their quarterback is dynamic. But I'd say, as far as I know, they're talented and I know they're well coached, but you just don't know. Arch Manning was and I kept telling people, pump the brakes on this a little bit. They were saying that Heisman Trophy candidate and first round draft pick. And I was like, he hasn't done anything yet. And he's struggling right now. So I still think Ohio State's the number one team in the land until something changes.
Julian Sand will make his first start, and it's weird to say Urban they're starting Big Ten play at Washington, but that's the new world of college football. When you've had a young quarterback, what are the keys, and does this kid impress you?
He has, and I love the way Coach Dan Hartline have dealt with him. He did not have to go beat Texas. That wasn't his job. His job was to move the ball, to take care of the ball, and then once the game started, it would have been different if Arch Manning and Texas would have been up and down the field on him, but they weren't. And so I thought, I think we only had 200 and some yards, 205 yards offense, which I came out on Big Nunes, and that was fantastic. And everybody's looking at me like, what are you talking about? Uh, the young quarterback, and I've obviously had the experience with that. I would make it in his mind that, your job's to flip the field, get some first downs, and if we punt, we punt because we have great defense, and that's exactly the way they played. Then obviously you played some teams, you just overmatched them, and you let him get his timing down. So I think this is this will be a good challenge, but I think he's ready.
I know you're a guy that loves defense. How about the job Timmy Walton, Matt Patricia are doing? And do you feel like this is an elite defense for Ohio State?
I do. I think there's elite players, and obviously Matt Patricia I've known forever, and Tim Walton is, I used to work for me. So uh, I think it is, but again, we don't know. I think it's hard to imagine we're 4 weeks in and we still don't know. Um, I think the big win against Texas was exactly that. They played outstanding defense, but how good is Texas? This one, I think I think this offense is actually better than Texas because the quarterback can really run.
All right, coach, break it down for me. Ohio State at Washington, keys to victory for Ohio State.
Yeah, survive the storm early. It's going to be. I was there in 19 at Ohio State. We went out there and played in 1986, and they beat the hell out of us. Um, I haven't been there since, so I don't know. But they say it's crazy. It's a wild atmosphere. It's a long flight. They're going out Thursday, so I would say survive. If you could get out of that first quarter, 7-7, 7-0, 10-0, and then everything starts to calm down a little bit. The greatest way to calm a crowd down is sustained drives. And that's where Julian Sain can really assist with that, obviously, by moving the chains, get first downs, and all of a sudden the crowd starts to do this. And that's when you can start playing football instead of in that inferno, because it's going to be loud.
Fast starts are nice. Woody Hayes used to say, make them sit on their hands. Fast start would be a big plus, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think the fast start is a nice 9, 10, 12 play drive to start that game, and all of a sudden it gets a little quieter. And I won't say the name of the stadium, but I used to always tell our most beautiful thing about going on the roads in the middle of the third quarter when you look up and see people heading to the exit. That's the best part about playing on the road.
Coach, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you.